bonjour, and welcome to the Amateur Detective Club. This club is exactly how it sounds. A bunch of amateurs talking about their favorite mysteries. So if you encounter a real mystery or a murder, contact the proper authorities. Do not come to us. We do not know what we are doing. But enjoy the program. Allons-y. Let us begin.
What's your name again?
You'll find out in a second.
Okay.
Well, Tyler's gonna change it up.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just.
You're not
I'm gonna
gonna-
think of one on the spot. It's gonna happen.
You're not gonna do Tristan's.
I now call this meeting of the Amateur Detective Club to order. My name is Tristan Miller, the horny dog. No, a saucy sleuth.
Okay. I'm Melissa Meli, the spy.
And Tyler Riley here, the vigilante.
Ooh.
I'm back, baby.
Yay!
The reason I said a horny dog was because Tyler couldn't remember my name, and so I wanted to fool him. And were you fooled?
I was not. Like, I knew it wasn't that. Because our moms listen to this podcast.
That's
and I
true.
don't think you would talk about being a horny dog every week.
Well.
Not in so few words.
I have to give a preamble to explain how I'm a horny dog.
Oh, goodness.
So, you can go to the scat. We do the ads up front now. I don't know because
yeah, no, I remember you started doing that during
because we forgot it
murders.
twice in a row.
So yeah, we should have had this conversation before we started recording the podcast.
Man,
so I
this
guess
is
we'll just
great.
have it right now.
Well,
Is that all right with you?
I'll stick to my slot, my allotted.
Great, sure. Do you
spilling
mind
my
doing
coffee.
it up front? Is that cool for now? Not to put you on the
Sure.
spot.
No.
Peer pressure. We're not peers.
Hello, boys and girls. Nope. I don't like it.
Rusty the Clown. Like, what the fuck?
I usually do a bit for the Patreon. Not this week. So, subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/adcpod, to get things like early access to our episodes as well as bonus content. You can also get clips of our show. We did Murder, She Wrote, starring the Dame Angela Lansbury. You can get access to those episodes on Patreon as well, for as little as $1 a month.
Hey.
But you can also subscribe for a lot more than that.
Yeah.
If your heart pulls you in that direction.
El corazón.
Yes. Money, please.
Mm-hmm.
Patreon.com/adcpod.
Impressed that you remember the whole thing. Way to go.
And I'm just grinning from ear to ear listening to Tyler do the Patreon.
I don't know if you've been listening because like the way I've been doing it is like, go there. You could just, you give us money or not. I don't care.
I have been listening. I listened to all of Only Murders in the Building. I didn't listen to the Star Trek ones because, like, I know I'm not gonna.
Yeah, no,
I'm not gonna know.
you shouldn't.
Oh, good. So you won't hear all those things we said about you on the Star Trek episode.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna surprise Tyler by saying I'm a horny dog the first episode. Ooh, but it'll.
Dang it.
You could go to scavengenetwork.com. They got a bunch of great podcasts there, along with other content. Yeah.
And you can follow us on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at ADCPod. And you can email us. You can. amateurdetectiveclub@gmail.com. Tristan will get the email.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been a long year so far, so my energy is.
Tristan, it's only February.
Indeed. At least we get the bad months of the year out at the beginning. I mean, I really don't like January, February, or March as a general rule. February is not as bad because it's shorter. And then March is just like, what is this winter? It should be over now.
Wow. Back
Also-
and already there's controversy. Melissa hates
It's
Black History
Month.
Melissa Meli, verbatim quote, "Where's White History Month?"
I've accused you
good. I'm
of
so glad that we're gonna have that recorded for posterity forever.
absolutely.
I feel like winter.
No, I feel you. I feel you 100% on
Black
that.
History Month should be a longer month, like
August.
yeah.
Oh, for the dog days of something.
That's funny. Yeah, I've accused you of being a racist at least twice on this program
Oh, yeah.
in your
Yeah, that
absence to
has-
try to,
Yeah.
keep the
No,
flag
I've
going.
noted and I have appreciated.
So, Tyler, you're back.
I'm back.
You want to explain yourself, young man?
Yeah, took a couple of months off. Had a really bad breakup from someone who was not deserving of me. And yeah,
Yeah, that's correct.
so I was living with this person, and when we broke up, I obviously had to move out. I had been saving. Well, I've been paying down debt to try to make like a better life for us as a couple moving forward. So I did not have the safety net of like having a bunch of money in my savings to just get a new place. So I moved down to Charlotte to be close to family for a bit, which turned out to be somewhat of a blessing in disguise. I got down there a week after my nephew Logan was born. So getting to watch him kind of grow within 3 months, and they really do grow within 3 months.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
I
they do.
saw
for sure.
a photo I took of him like my second week there, and I was scrolling through my phone like trying to find pictures for something else, and I was like, whose baby is this? This looks nothing like any baby I know. Because he had just changed so much in his face from
Yeah.
like when I first got there, and it was like I was not ready for that. Because, like, why would I have just a random baby
Yeah.
photo in my phone? I was really annoyed until I realized
So
that it
funny.
was my nephew.
I'm
and
sorry
I was
to this
very
baby.
happy.
No, yeah. I mean, all babies are beautiful. It is hard to recognize them as human beings when they're first born because they all look very like they're wrinkly and
Yeah, like a
Yeah,
weird
they're,
they
like,
potato.
just came out
smushed
of
and- yeah.
And then a couple months later, it's like, oh, you're a full person, aren't you? Just a
Yeah.
teeny little one. So.
And babbling like a brook. Love that kid. I also have my other nephew who's like a year.
Oh
and
yes,
some-
I got a quick forgot
No, wait.
about
I
him.
didn't forget about Camden. He's my buddy. He likes wrestling like his uncle, Mr. Tyler.
Oh, that's great. Does he call you Uncle Mr. Tyler?
I mean, he's not using like he knows some words so far.
Mm.
If you ask where Uncle Mister is, like he will know to look or point to me.
That's good.
Mm.
That's very good.
Very cute.
Yeah.
But to close up the thing of my relationship, he wished me the best, and I wished him, whatever life throws at him.
Yep.
He's not a terrible person, but he's not a good one either. And we will leave it there.
All right.
On to better things.
Mhm.
We are so happy to have you back.
I'm very happy to be back.
Yeah.
I was a bit nervous coming back, though.
Mm.
But it was, yeah.
Yeah, I'm scary. I know. I'm very intimidating. Well, why though?
Just because, like, oh gosh, like, are we gonna, like, me being gone, like, is the rhythm gonna be there? Like, are we gonna be, but it's,
I mean,
I
we
had
both
nothing to worry
accused
about.
Melissa of being a racist at the exact
Yeah.
same time. So, I mean, I think,
we're back.
yeah,
We're back.
roll back the clock.
So you won't get as many tangents because Tristan and I are on our best behavior when we're around Tyler. Not our best behavior.
Oh no, it is certainly not me. I
Well,
I said horny dog earlier, Melissa.
I just mean that we.
Tyler brings a
focus.
level of professionalism
Yeah.
and elegance to everything he does, and it makes us both nervous. And so we were like, oh, we can't talk about
Let's
that.
just call it what it is. Tyler brings an energy of knock it off.
But Mr. Uncle Tyler, we like talking about
Uncle Mister.
Ah! They
Go
call
to your
me-
room.
They call me Uncle Mr. Tyler.
Let's get into it.
Yeah.
So we covered a virtual production. Paula Vogel, the amazing Pulitzer Prize-winning playwright, created this series called Barred at the Gate during the pandemic, which was at first a series of virtual readings of plays. Then Paula Vogel partnered with the McCarter Theatre Center in Princeton, New Jersey, my old stomping grounds, and they started producing more realized presentations of these plays online. So today we are covering, I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, Lloyd So's Charles Francis Chan Jr.'s Exotic Oriental Murder Mystery.
Yeah, we are. Oh my goodness. So this was a really interesting experience because of the type of media it is.
Yeah.
Because I didn't fully understand. I'm sure if I had read more closely, I would have that it is specifically a production that was adapted for the Zoom medium. I guess
Yeah.
we can call it
I would say the digital medium.
the digital medium. There we go.
I was also like, for whatever reason, I had assumed that like they had put it on, recorded it sans audience on a stage, and were like, we were gonna watch it that way. And so when it
Right, like National Theater Live or something.
yeah,
Gotcha,
whereas it when it started, I was like, oh, okay. This is the weirdest podcast I've ever seen.
But it was really interesting because I have seen a lot of digital productions at this point, as have we all, I think, because of the past 2 years being what they are.
I even did one last night as of this recording.
Yeah. And this one had more production elements than I'm used to seeing, which is, it's exciting. It's nice. And it was really interesting to see how they adapted to that. So I'm sure we'll get into that more. We don't have to get into the minutia before we talk about the actual show.
So at the start of the show, we are introduced to the character of Eleanor Biggers, an elderly woman who, at first glance, we can get the impression that she is a very well-to-do lady.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
And she is calling for her husband, Earl. Earl.
The phone is ringing, and she's in the bath.
Oh,
I
yes,
believe.
you're right.
Yeah.
Phone.
So
Phone
she
ringing.
is very frustrated that Earl is not answering the phone because she has to get out of the bath. She's very annoyed about having to finally get up because her silly husband is not answering the phone. And she answers the phone.
Sorry. I had no idea what the tone of this production was going to be.
Sure.
And this first scene is very silly, shall
Yeah.
we say.
It's over
Very
the top.
big.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I see. I comprehend now what we're doing here. Again, the shock of it being a Zoom thing, and then also the level at which this actress is performing it took me by surprise. It caught me off guard.
That's fair.
Yeah.
'Cause I felt similarly
Yeah.
until you get in, because I didn't know too much about it. I had a little bit of a write up beforehand. I was like, oh, this could be really fun.
Yeah.
But she eventually makes her way downstairs. She answers the phone. Almost like she's being seduced at first. She
Yeah.
is very,
this
kind of
is-
happy to have this call.
It's very sensual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it takes a turn.
Bum, bum, bum.
It does. Basically, doesn't the person on the phone explain to her that her husband has been
Voided?
murdered? Or is that not what the phone call is about?
That's not. We don't hear the voice on the other end,
Oh,
but we
right,
know
no,
that
don't.
the whatever they were saying on the other end, ends up being a not great thing, and she
Yeah.
gets very surprised and upset and hangs up. And I think she goes over to Earl and then discovers that.
Yeah, okay. Okay, yes. Because it almost seems like the caller is someone who is kind of telling her, I think I'd check on your husband because,
At
he's dead.
What point does a person become a body?
The moment they're born? Or
No, you understand, like, because we call it a dead body. We don't call it a dead person. When does a person become a body?
When they die.
But, like, how quickly after? Like, immediately?
Yes.
No, I'd give it at least 10 seconds.
It's cold, Melissa.
Let
That's
the
cold.
let the soul leave first.
Open the
Okay.
window so it flies off to heaven.
Once the soul is gone. Yes.
Oh.
Once they're no longer be able to, they have to be very dead.
Okay.
Completely dead. Like,
Okay.
you know, not like in Princess Bride, where he's only mostly dead.
Yeah.
He's still a person.
Yeah.
Well, that does. I know that I am playing into the tangent, but
Yeah.
there are people who have been like dead for like up to like 4 minutes and like brought back. Like,
Mhm.
are they a body and then a person again?
No.
Well, then. Okay.
So then that begs, do we need to at least give it like a half an hour
I
before
guess.
it's a body?
I guess.
See, Is it until the coroner proclaims them legally dead?
So if a body's lying in the forest,
I'd
and
be like,
there's
look at
no
that guy.
coroner
Yeah, I'd be like,
around,
look at that guy. Oh, he's having a great
Is
time.
it, you know?
Oh, I wish I could rest so
is
deeply.
it a body?
Oh, yeah. It's a good question, isn't it?
It is a good question.
I think it's compelling.
So
Let us
there's-
know in the Twitter poll.
So just to go off further down this road.
Oh, cool.
I listened to this podcast called Radio Rental, and in one of them, a guy who ends up working for not a coroner, but like for a crematorium, I guess, or a funeral home, has to like transport a body, and they open up the box that the body is in to like cremate him, and it like sounds like there's something inside the box, or like
No, the death rattle.
it's that's what they think. And then but they're trying to figure out, like, because this guy's like, wait, is this person actually dead or no? And like there's mysterious circumstances around the way his wife had been like, oh yeah, he's dead, blah blah blah, and he's like, wait, maybe this guy's not dead. Are we completely sure he's dead? Like, is he completely dead? And they're like, the wife says that she wants him cremated as quickly as possible. And so they cremated him, and the guy's like, anyway. So that's just a thing I was thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe being single isn't so.
No, it's not. It's not bad. It's not bad at all.
Like, just get a divorce. Seriously.
That's not
But the
enough.
insurance man.
I know, and that's what it always comes down to.
Yeah, love and money.
So,
Go for it.
so then we see she has discovered that her husband is now a body. And
Boy, is he.
Body, yada, yada, yada.
and then we cut.
So a person can be alive in a body is what you're also suggesting with the lyrics there.
Wow.
Megan Thee Stallion, tweet at us. Is this an appropriate use of?
Ugh.
So,
When are you not thinking about Megan?
It's
you know?
very rare when I'm not.
So now we're seeing some 70s era.
Late
Six-
60s.
late
It's
60s.
1967.
1967.
Hey,
Army recruitment posters, and then we see a gentleman talking to an army recruiter, and this is how we meet our main character, Charles Francis Chan Jr.
Who likes to go by Frank.
Yes. And he explains explains a lot to the recruiter.
Too much, one might
Like,
say.
more than one normally would under these circumstances.
So, so he's trying to avoid the draft, and he's going on this diatribe about like what this is immediately about what it's like to be Asian in America, right? That's where we get he's
That's
in
what
the
he's
middle
trying
of
to-
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It should be noted that he is an Asian man. This plays a lot into the plot. So, and the other guy is white, which also plays a lot into the plot.
Yeah, he's the
Yeah, that's all.
The recruiter is, I think, the only white actor in the show. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Boy, is he.
Yeah. Yep.
Boy, is he.
Yeah.
And then next, I think we see him at his home or his girlfriend's home.
Yeah. Yeah.
He does not successfully dodge the draft.
Right.
Is the thing
right.
we're meant to believe, because he keeps giving up excuses, and it's like this fun banter. It's kind of the whole show is kind of Mel Brooksy, if that makes sense.
I see what you mean.
But there's like a lot of patter of like, oh well, I have asthma, no you don't. Oh, I have flat feet, no you don't.
Yeah.
It's like this sort of
Yeah.
almost vaudeville back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, "Are you a homosexual? Like, would that get me out?" And then like he keeps like
Only
the
if I
recruiter
believe
doesn't
you.
believe him, but like
Yeah.
he's still like any chance he gets like tries to hint that he is gay,
Yeah.
hoping to like get out.
He mentions mentions a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Of him, like, huh? Yes.
I believe it goes, are you a homosexual? Would that get me out? Yes. Well, you have beautiful eyes, which is very cute.
Yeah. He's very charming.
And I think like with the asthma bit, he was like, "Oh, well, you should ask my boyfriend." It was
Yeah.
like-
Yeah.
But that is not the last we hear of the draft. But we now are in.
Close that window, am I right, America?
My God.
Yeah.
He is broken up with by his long-term girlfriend.
Yeah.
Because she is going away to film a Hollywood movie
She has 3 lines.
and is playing a prostitute.
Yeah. Where did she go?
Vietnam.
The Philippines.
The
Philippines, but
Philippines.
it's like she's a
She's playing
Vietnamese,
a Vietnamese
prostitute.
Yeah, exactly.
And we also learned that Frank has a big penis.
Yeah.
Oh
and
yeah,
is
we
apparently
do.
a slob.
Oh, we should mention this play is not family friendly.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of cussing. It's like a PG no, there's more than one F word, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a rated R play. It would be restricted guidance if it was a movie.
Okay, fine. I feel like I heard worse than Homeward Bound, but let's continue.
Oh, that scene in Miles and Otis? Yeah.
The giant F word as they go over the water. That shouldn't be funny because like,
Yeah,
they,
that ripped
like,
to that
that was
cat.
a horrible
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
multiple
yeah.
pugs and cats.
Yeah. It's what
And I loved that film growing up. I had no idea.
yeah, same. It's what got that like no animals were harmed in the making of
Yeah.
this film.
Yeah.
Because they're
Ugh.
like, you did what?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, we didn't care.
Ugh. But unfortunately, we'll have to just keep going.
Sorry to bring the mood down with Miles and Otis.
Yeah, I mean, it's just you know who we are.
Yeah, that's it's been a long time,
This is also intercut with scenes. So we go back and forth between the black and white.
Yeah.
Because actually right
Before we go back, though, I do want to bring up the fact that he is very vocal about his dislike of white people in this scene with his now ex-girlfriend. And he also brings up what I think is a really valid point of him being nervous about being drafted and being mistaken for the enemy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah.
There's another reason I feel like this is not family friendly. There's a lot of racial slurs in this darn play. Like a lot.
Again, you go far back enough in Disney,
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah, but you're not like gonna sit your kid down now
no,
and
and
watch
I'm not
Song
saying
of the
you
South.
should like sit down and watch this with your family, but like there are teachable moments.
Oh yeah, it's a very
Absolutely.
educational program, but it like I mean, you should at least be TV 14. How about we all agree TV 14?
Okay.
Because yeah, actually that's a good because I think that's what Boondocks is. And there's a similar like amount of racial slurs in that.
No, it's fair. I just
know.
never associate Boondocks with having like any rating because of how late it would come on.
Oh, sure, because it's an adult. And like I got to it on HBO. But anyway,
Fair, yeah.
I've been rewatching it, and that's why it's on the mind as well. That's all.
Yeah.
If only there was a mystery episode there. There's not.
I know.
Maybe in the reboot that I have mixed feelings about.
I thought they stalled that.
They should have.
I believe they did. They were like, never mind.
Okay.
Yeah, no, there's certainly words that children shouldn't just start saying offhandedly without understanding what they mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is this, South Park?
Oh.
Yeah. Sure. But yes, so we have this breakup scene, and she's going off to be in this movie.
Yeah, and you get the sense that the relationship was never good.
Yeah, no. Like, you could tell, like, for me, it seemed like it was mostly, like, a physical relationship for her.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, this is intercut right before this, and between this and the draft scene, we actually do get another black and white scene where we have, our main character. So Charlie is playing a detective called Hastings.
Very cute.
Or
Arthur
Frank.
Hastings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Of all things.
Of all things. So yeah, Frank is
What a
playing...
weird coincidence.
I know, how funny.
Yeah.
They do actually mention Agatha Christie and Poirot in this scene.
Yeah, because we find out that the victim, Earl Biggers, is a mystery fiction writer a la Agatha Christie.
Yeah. And we have, he's talking to, I guess, a deputy or something, and
I called him Officer Randy, and I don't know if it was because I was watching Scream not too long ago, but I feel like the cop was named Randy. I don't.
I think it was like Chad or something.
Can I tell you?
Okay.
Something that's so stupid. I was about to grab my phone and go to IMDb. I'm a
It
fool.
wouldn't be there, but like I'm sure we could look it up. But
they
I
do
did
mention the
not.
name of the officer at some point, but it's not essential.
I'm gonna refer to him as Randy.
Sure.
Throughout, just so you know.
Absolutely. But yes, and so he's explaining to Detective Hastings that there's a private detective being brought in,
Yes.
Charlie Chan. So this is where the introduction of the Charlie Chan detective stereotype is brought in.
And I think it should also be noted. Should be noted at this point that even in these black and white scenes, Arthur Hastings, the other police officer, Eleanor Earl, and all the other characters we meet in the black and white world, except for Charlie Chan, are played by Asian American actors portraying white characters.
Mostly. Yes.
Mostly, yes, you're right. Because there
Because-
are two in the black and white world that are actually supposed to be Asian American characters.
Right. So the Biggers
Yeah, the
Couple.
Biggers are white.
are white and
Randy and Hastings are
are
white,
white.
canonically.
Yes. But yes, so Charlie Chan is an Asian detective being played by a white man in the most stereotypical way possible.
Yeah, they
Even
do
Peter
a lot of-
Sellers is like, holy crap.
Right, and it made me think of that movie that we watched.
Murder by Death?
Actually, was like,
Yeah.
I was like, this is actually pretty spot on for the
Yeah.
Peter Sellers thing. Like,
Oh yeah, it really,
Yeah.
really was. And we'll get into that because it's really interesting because I was wondering how they were, like, I saw this character and I was like, okay, we are clearly going to talk about this stereotypical character a lot, as we should. But like they really do investigate it and the fact that it's played by a white man, and it's the same actor who plays the army
recruiter.
army recruiter. Yeah. So yeah, I was like, okay, how are we talking about this? Interesting. So
I believe next Charlie Chan arrives.
Mm-hmm.
he does.
And then
Boy, does he.
And a few moments later, like Hastings is not happy that
Right.
Chan is going to be brought on to take the lead of this investigation.
Yeah.
But the two do meet and get ready to interview witnesses who are Linda Wong, Mr. Bigger's longtime acupuncturist, Alfred Wong, Linda's husband and part-time manservant for the Biggers, Eleanor Biggers, the widow, and also Arthur Hastings, because he was at the property that night having tea with Eleanor to investigate these threatening voicemails that had been left for the Biggers.
Right.
And I believe, do they start with the first interview after that, or do we go back?
We
to
go back.
To their present.
Yes.
Okay.
So essentially, after the breakup, Frank meets his imaginary friend.
Oh,
Yes,
right. I forgot about
monkey.
this whole convention. Yeah, this monkey, this capuchin
This monkey.
Also, loved the makeup design.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And this actress who plays this monkey is great. She's excellent. She
I
does a great
only
job.
wish she would have been smoking the whole time. Because she has that, like, listen, honey, sort of thing. And I was just, like, look, you just gotta do that. You know, it would have been, get her a vape pen that looks like a cigarette or something.
Yeah, so essentially, she introduces herself and is guiding him along this journey. He's trying to figure out what he is going to do with himself.
Yeah, he's like
Yeah.
22.
Yeah. He's like, am I going to go to war? Am I going to...
Am I going to go to Canada? Am I going to go to Mexico?
Yeah. And so his life was in such a state of disarray that he unknowingly summoned Monkey,
Yes.
who has been around since the start of the universe, apparently.
Yeah. That makes sense. And essentially they go to a bar. And in this whole thing, so it's really interesting watching this digital medium, because we've got lots of backgrounds, right? And they're really well done. Like, these backgrounds are pretty good, and occasionally I would forget that that these people who were doing this were not in the same room with each other.
Yeah.
Every once in a while there's an eye line thing that I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. Like, at one point a character
Has
tells,
to look at the hand.
yeah, that one. Exactly. I was like,
There's
You're
another.
not looking there.
But there's a moment where, like, they pass a
A note or some.
hanky,
yeah.
and it's very artfully done.
Yeah.
Very smooth.
yeah. And while we're talking about this, it's really great because a lot of digital plays that I have seen, you can only see someone's face, right? These folks are backed up from the camera quite a bit more, so you can see, like, they're really acting with their bodies, and it's great. Like,
Oh,
it really helps quite a lot. That to, like, suspension of disbelief. So in the background of this bar scene, there's a woman dancing, and I was watching her almost the whole time.
Yeah.
Be like, huh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just to be like, oh, interesting. How are they? It's interesting that they got, like, an extra to do this
Mm-hmm.
and to record this scene. And so I was watching her for a while, and then eventually, like, she comes to the foreground and she's the main character in the play. So it's like, oh, all right, that makes
Yeah.
sense. But it was really it really added to the whole ambiance of the thing.
Yeah, before the character, whose name is Kathy, gets introduced to us, Monkey and Frank are talking, and, like, through their conversation, he decides to take a stand against, these racial slurs, and canonically, he comes up with the term Asian American,
Yeah.
which is hilarious,
Yeah.
and wonderful.
Yes. That's what we should be known as.
And it inspires him to write a play.
A manifesto, if you will.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is going to expose, white racism and, really, highlight the struggles of Asian Americans in this country. And, like, we're not going to take, shit anymore. And That's his
Yep.
thing. That he now has a mission in life.
He's mad as hell.
Exactly.
What's the rest of it? And I can't take it anymore.
And he's not gonna,
Yeah.
not gonna take it anymore. Yep. So as he's doing this, he's going on some rant and makes a lot of noise, and the woman from the background comes into the foreground and is like, "Hey, you ruined my song, my dance." Oh, I'm sorry. But
Then he immediately was it's like, yeah, I did, but hey, pretty lady. Like, it's
Yeah.
like so wild to be like, yeah, I ruined your thing, but you want a bone? Like, it's
Yeah.
so
You know what
strange.
sucks? Racism. You know what doesn't suck? Sexism. Let's hop.
You know what hopefully sucks?
Heyo.
actually, the monkey encourages him to
Yeah.
Yeah, shoot
to
a
go
shot.
home with her. Yeah. And she's up for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's game.
Yeah.
And oh yeah,
Doesn't it jump cut to them like
not
post-coitally?
quite yet, because he first convinces her to stop whatever she's doing in life to be an actress in this play that he has yet to write.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then from there, the two have bad sex, it seems,
Yeah.
that first go round.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
the first go around. Yeah, she says the famous words. It happens to a lot of guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Which is, by the way, not true. If you have experience, I'm so sorry. It was just a joke that didn't land with you two. Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Staring at Tristan, judging them like.
Sometimes being snide is fun. Have you ever considered being just a little mean? It's great.
anyway,
Uh,
you're right. It is fun.
Yeah. It is. It is.
He tells Kathy, like, after that, like, pretty quickly after that, like, you know, just so you know, I'm not interested in anything romantic, you know. This bird has to spread his wings and fly, or, like, something along those.
I love it when guys do that after you've hooked up. It's
Yeah.
the best.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't, but,
No,
you know, it's
you-
nice. No.
It's nice to hear another opinion. The capuchin monkey.
is
Well-
monologuing at this point about
Well, because they're having sex. They had bad sex and then they had good
Yes.
sex.
yes, thank you.
So they get married and the monkey marries them,
Yes.
but she can't see the monkey and doesn't know about the monkey. And so that's interesting.
Well, I feel like that was just more like more of a play convention. Like, I feel like they got married, but like the monkey is just
Okay. It's like a
doing like the thing in the background. Like,
Yeah.
we know what's going on, and she's like more talking to the audience.
okay.
Is how I took it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we find out more about Kathy's background. Like, she seems to be like very into like zodiac and like palm readings and like what that kind of stuff means to her.
Yes.
She
She's
lives in
vegetarian. She grew up in Canton, Ohio.
Yeah.
Her mother killed herself when she was 14
Yeah.
by shooting herself in the face.
Yeah. Yikes.
Yeah.
You gotta admire the commitment, though.
I mean, that's one way to do it.
And now do we get Eleanor's interview?
Eleanor's interview.
We actually go to like we're having a play rehearsal. And
And oh yeah,
we
meet the
Oh,
white actor who will
right.
play the character of Charlie Chan.
Right.
Also, I think you explained it a bit before, but just to reiterate that it comes to pass, like, we the audience, like, now have figured out by this point that everything that we're seeing in black and white is the play that
Yes.
Frank has been writing.
Yes.
Yes. Exactly. So when we're in black and white, we're in the play. When we're in color, we're in
The 60s.
exactly. So
Groovy, baby. Yeah.
so yes, we are talking. I'm so sorry. I just got a text message and I'm really distracted.
Oh, no.
Austin Power Rangers. What about that? Mighty Morphin
do they-
Power Rangers, baby. Yeah.
But like, is he a ranger or is that what they turn into?
Oh, that's so much
altogether?
better. That's so much better. The Voltron is Austin
It's
Powers.
Austin Powers.
This might be a my brother and me bit that I'm stealing accidentally through osmosis. Oh, gosh.
What was the villain's name? Repulsa
Oh, yeah, Rita Repulsa.
is played by Mindy. Who plays Frau Farbissina in Austin Powers? Plays.
There was that Super Bowl commercial with all the Austin Powers characters. Did you see?
Oh, I didn't see that one.
But
Oh,
it's
yeah.
I
There were
saw
a
the
few.
cable guy one, which was a choice. Like, I appreciated it, but I was like, this is a joke for 12 people.
Yes. But the Austin Powers one, I was just like, oh god, I do just want to watch all those movies again. They're so good.
I remember, like, Jennifer Lopez was rumored to do, like, the fourth, but, like, it ended up getting scrapped, and I was like, dang it.
I think they're working on a fourth one now, which is like,
Well, they probably won't use Jennifer at this point, though.
I don't think so.
Who I believe is in a mystery that hits Netflix later this year.
Ooh, there's also the improvised mystery show with
Yeah, Murderville.
in Murderville, and there's also House Party,
After Party.
After Party,
And there's also
Murder Mystery
the
2.
girl. It's on HBO Max. It's David Oyelowo, Gugu Mbatha-Raw, and another actress that's also a mystery that's on HBO Max that just hit last week, I think.
Oh, okay.
And there's also a Harlan Coben series. Like, we are, like, inundated with a whole bunch of murder mysteries out of nowhere.
Yeah, we are.
We have met the white actor who is playing Charlie Chan.
Yeah, the sequence is him putting on the makeup, and Frank is like asking him to be more racially insensitive, and the actor. At one point, Frank goes, "Well, what's the difference between you and an Asian person?" And he's like, "Oh, not much, but about and this sort of thing." And then there's a beat, and he goes, "Well, you have more to say." And he's like, "Nah." And he goes, "No, you have more to say." And it ends up where he's like, "Well, basically, the values of Asian people, specifically Chinese, are not emotional in any way, and it's mostly like you are cockroaches that kind of just replace each other, and it doesn't really seem to matter if." You live or die, which is maybe even more evolved because you guys are further from Africa and they're further from apes. And so maybe you're more evolved and maybe Americans are wrong by it, but I just see it more as just like robots without souls.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. And the whole time, so Kathy sees, him getting into makeup and is like, I think we need to break up.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, hear me out.
Yeah.
And so when he goes through the logic of why this character is in this play,
And why it's being portrayed by somebody white.
yeah, and then after he goes through this whole like racist, but maybe you're more evolved monologue, she's like, I get it.
Mhm.
Okay, let's keep going.
Like, which is like everything he has said, I have heard before.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
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 Which is sad, but
Yeah.
real.
Absolutely. Some of it was new to me, but
It's really interesting how, and this is what is sort of compelling about this play, is Asian people are both seen as more than and less than white people at the same time. It's very interesting.
yeah.
Which is
Well, I mean, you could say that about really.
most races.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's something, because
Hispanics are lazy, but they also work really hard.
yeah.
Like,
Which is the wildest.
black people are impervious to pain, but also, it's just,
Yeah.
White people will find anything to be jealous about because the culture is so inundated that it's boring. Does that make sense? Because it's seen as exotic to not be white, because white is the standard in most white people's minds. And so they go, oh, it's more interesting, to be a minority than it's not. So therefore, these qualities are desirable, but I wouldn't actually want to be a minority. It's really
Okay.
kind of bass-ackwards, obviously. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It's very strange.
So then we get a play rehearsal scene in black and white, and it's become clear that his ex-girlfriend is playing Mrs.
Eleanor,
Biggers.
yeah.
Eleanor.
Yeah.
Yes. And so we're having her interrogation in her home.
Yeah.
Yes. And Eleanor opens her interview with a story about winners and losers. And I'm like, this is wild, but I love it. It is such a great monologue.
Oh, yeah.
And she's pretty much just talking about like how she is a winner
Right.
Mhm.
in her life. But it also comes to pass that Earl was concerned for his life because of these threatening messages that had been left at their home.
On their answering machine.
And it is Chan who reveals to us that he has been having an affair. Earl had before his passing an affair with Linda, the long-term acupuncturist,
Right.
who is played by Kathy, Frank's girlfriend.
Yes. For a 6-character play, it gets pretty or 6-actor play.
Yeah.
Because there's more characters than actors.
Eleanor is seemingly like heartbroken at the news. It seemed like it was a shock to her.
Yeah.
And we also find out that Eleanor is quite literally very snotty. Like she is going through these tissues like nobody's business.
Yes.
And this is where they do that great handoff with the hanky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's here that we also learn that Alfred was hired as a manservant as a favor to Linda.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
because Alfred's kind of a dope.
Yeah, and he recently was let go after like a bad service or bad behavior at like a dinner party or something.
Yeah.
So was he embittered by being fired, by the affair? There's so many reasons for him to be embittered.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's got a motive.
Yeah.
That's
So.
true.
And I believe that interview ends, and then Hastings berates Chan for being inhuman.
Right. Being
And
insensitive.
how he needs to, try to be the image that white people would be most comfortable with.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's basically like, oh, all right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So then we cut back to Frank's apartment.
I believe he says literally, "Oh, me so sorry." I believe is what the exact words are.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of that.
Yeah, which is like, ooh boy.
Yeah. So we meet in present day. We meet Frank's brother, who is also named Charles Chan, and he goes by Chuck.
Mm-hmm. The best abbreviation of Charles, in my opinion.
I prefer Lee.
I was like, Les is also kind of fun.
Well, Les is more.
Oh,
That's right.
you.
I have
You back.
I have very strong opinions about nicknames and which ones are the best ones.
Yeah, okay. Well, then what's the best one for Charles?
I think it is Chuck.
Yeah,
it
it's
depends. It depends. It's either Chuck or Charlie.
What
But
about
actually, Charles is pretty good on its own.
Kevin? Sounds like it should be short for something. Am I wrong?
Sorry.
Kevin, the name, sounds like it should be short for another name.
You think so?
Yeah. It doesn't stand on its own.
Interesting.
I think it does.
Okay.
I think so too.
What about Bill or William?
So, okay, Will
Liam.
is the best one. No, Will is the best one.
Billy. Bill or Billy?
Billy is.
I prefer Will.
I like Will, and then Billy, and then. Well, okay, so it goes. It goes Will, then William, then Billy.
But no
Then-
Liam.
No. No Liam. I mean, Liam's down there as far as a nickname for William.
Mm.
But Liam is a good name on its own. So, yeah. Will, William, Billy, and then Bill. Bill's the least good.
Billy's the best, followed by Bill, followed by William, followed by Will.
Well, end of list.
End of thought, I understand.
And for Richard, Rich is the best nickname.
Dick.
Dick is good. Ricky is also very good.
Oof.
I used to call one of my
remember
managers at one of
Ricky.
the Dickie, also very fun, but with an IE. I used to call one of my managers whose name Richard Charizard.
I like that.
See, that's good.
Yeah, because he smoked a lot. He looked like a dragon.
Yeah, that's.
I like Ricky.
Ricky, I do.
Ricky's
Richie
pretty
is
good.
also
Like Ricky
cute.
the Dragon Steamboat.
I had forgotten about Ricky being an option. Ricky or Rick. Yeah.
You got some explaining to do.
Yeah.
Just being the Ricardos over there.
Yeah. Can I tell you what's interesting? The nickname for George is Georgie, which is longer than George.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You don't.
I thought
I
it
mean,
was-
Geo too. I guess.
Yeah.
I know a couple people named Geo.
But it's also more syllables. If you say Geo rather than George. George is one
Geo.
syllable.
George. I mean,
It's
when
a
I was
long one syllable.
you are.
We can still go on tangents when Tyler's here.
We are, yeah.
I think.
We've gotten real good at it.
Yeah.
Yes.
We find out, well, the two start bickering over the role of Hastings immediately.
Yes.
Oh
and
yeah.
It comes to pass through Kathy that the script is like all over the place.
Yee.
And Kathy kind of discovers through this conversation that the play, Chuck accuses Frank of like writing a play about their dad.
Yeah.
And Frank is like, no, it's not. And they go back and forth. And Kathy's like, yeah, no, it's not about your dad. It's about you.
Yeah.
And then Frank has like a little monologue about, how this play is in fact about him and him using this convention to discover himself.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because we also find out that Kathy has not heard about Frank's dad. So
Yeah.
we get the story about him being a performer. Basically, when he came over to the States, they changed his name, and everyone was expecting like this vaudevillian performer, to be like the Charlie Chan detective, since his name was Charlie Chan. And when he wasn't, people were disappointed, so he turned himself into that so he could make money.
Yeah.
And he ended up basically drinking too much and was hit by a train and died, which is very upsetting. But yes.
Which, two things. One, do you remember that Tom and Jerry episode that ends with them sitting on the train tracks?
No.
They both lose
I
their
don't remember.
girlfriends, and they both just sit down on the train tracks waiting to get
I mean, I get the impulse, not gonna lie, but like I don't recommend it.
Yeah, no. And then also, this sort of thing is actually incredibly common in vaudeville. I'm listening to a book about the history of American comedy, and it was often intentionally done to change your name to be similar to a famous person, so you would get booked through confusion.
Sure.
Anyhow,
We so that takes us into after we Chuck has agreed to play the husband
and the cop.
and which he's been doing the whole time, and he played the bartender at the bar, and this actor's, we've seen him before. He's been around, and so then we get a brief interlude from our friend the Capuchin Monkey, and she takes us into intermission.
Yeah, and poses the question, what's the number one like representation of Asian America in pop culture? It kind of with the implied, it'll take you a minute, right?
Yeah.
Was Jackie Chan from Jackie Chan Adventures. That's with I was like, he is the most popular Asian American person I can think of.
I think the way she posed it was like the greatest.
I still think Jackie Chan's the greatest.
I mean, I suppose you're right. I mean, that's not where my mind went.
Yeah.
But
Who was your pick?
okay, like I think I was still like I was mostly approaching it from the genre perspective. Because I remember bringing it up to y'all a while back, like a few years ago, I think, about like, are there Asian American detective stories?
Sure.
Yeah, I
And we were
recall
like
that.
trying to figure out what that would be, and all that came up for me in my search was Charlie Chan, and I didn't want to do it for obvious reasons.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and now there are like I think like one or two books. There's actually a book I got for Christmas, which is more like YA mystery, young adult mystery book. But yeah, like there's as far as like mysteries go, like Charlie Chan kind of like is it, and like that
sucks.
a bummer.
Yeah.
There are so many actors that I would love to see like in a mystery.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I was trying to think as well, and I think you're probably right, Tristan. But yeah, I'm like only thinking of more recent stuff about like
Oh, for sure.
great representations of Asian characters and Asian actors, and just thinking very recently about Shang-Chi and how what a great character and movie that is, and how impactful that actually is.
Full volume or on mute. I still have a good time.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think to your point, Melissa, I think the reason I was able to come up with it is I grew up with Jackie Chan. Like he was everywhere. I saw Rush Hour was a big thing in my house. Like and like Jackie Chan Adventures was something I watched after school every day. It was like, this is one I need to see. And so like to someone's credit, like there are certainly more stories, but still there's not, specifically to your point, Tyler, as well, like within the genre of mystery. Yeah. It's like Rush Hour isn't a mystery, it's a buddy cop movie. Yeah. So we couldn't cover that. But yeah, there's not a lot. Yeah. I don't want to get into that discussion. We don't have time.
That's fair. But yeah, so that question was posed. You let us know in your replies to Twitter or in the Facebook comments.
And DM me and be like,
what you think about. Do it now.
Jackie Chan will buy a Segway every film production and then give it away at the end of it.
Oh, that's fun.
But he also won't let his kid have any of his money. He's a complicated guy. Because he's like, well, you have to make it on your own. And he's like, well, Dad, it's inheritance. He's like, well, you're gay, and I don't like that. So.
Oh, is that a thing?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Oh. How old's his son?
Age is just a number, baby.
Ooh, nope. Going up, maybe, not going down.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not doing.
Has that ever. I've always seen that meaning going up.
No, like, Aaliyah had a song about it in reference to R. Kelly.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's always where my mind goes. Is
yeah. No, I think that's the title of the song, right?
Yeah, Agent. Yeah.
Agent, nothing but a number or something. Yeah.
Oh, noted.
So
we come back from intermission and we get a scene with. What is his first name? The character, is it Alfred Wong?
Yes,
yeah.
Alfred
Wong. Because he's Alfred the butler.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he is extremely jittery and nervous.
Yeah.
He is. This actor is
a really fun scene.
Yeah, this actor is great. So basically, it comes out. Yes, he knew that his wife was having the affair. Yes, he was upset about being fired, but Charlie basically decides he couldn't have possibly done it.
Mm-hmm.
And Hastings is like, are you kidding me? This guy had the most motive.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, you've got to trust my methods.
Yeah.
And it's also noted, because it upsets Charlie very much, that Alfred cannot speak Mandarin.
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And we do get a funny bit that kind of plays into something coming up or a bit later, where Alfred cannot say the word suspect.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. That is fun. That is fun. He can't even, yeah. It is so distasteful to him that he cannot even say the word. And then
it passes over to Arthur as well, who can't.
right.
It's like it's a silly bit.
Right, once Alfred has left, he's like, he couldn't even say the word
Suspicious.
bus butt, or, you know, whatever. Suspect. Now I'm doing it too.
Yeah.
But then he's been crossed off the list as a suspect.
One of the lines where he's like, "I don't like what you're doing, Chan," he's like, "You're doing too mysterious of things," and Charlie's kind of like, "Isn't that the whole bit, though?"
Yeah. Absolutely. So then we get a scene.
He also calls him some epithets that are deeply creative,
Oh,
and
sure.
and it reminds me a lot of just again, unfortunately, I do find it amusing when such archaic epithets are used, because I'm like, who the hell says that?
Yeah, no,
And
because I appreciate it as well, especially like the Black Dynamite cartoon.
Exactly, yeah.
Like there's this whole like Howard Cosell thing during like the race war episode of Black Dynamite, where like it's a literal car race and each race has their own driver.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very
That's so-
good.
That's
So it's like
great.
Howard Cosell and it is Muhammad Ali
Yes.
as like
yeah,
the
it is.
commentators.
Mm-hmm.
And Howard Cosell, in quotes, because it's a voice actor, obviously,
Sure.
goes, and that's why they call you the modern day Shakespeare. Not because of your words, because you literally shake a spear. It's so racist, but like it's so.
Yeah.
Wait, what? It's
If
so
you're gonna be racist, you have to be at least creative.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
Yes.
for sure. And it's also like
You hear that, Kid Rock?
What you're doing, it's not original.
Step it up.
oh my god.
If you're racist, at least be fun about it.
It's like I don't know, it's so weird of like, because it is also in this in that cartoon, and also the live action film, and then also in this, I'm like, I learned some words. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, oh, I just, you there's just so many different, like, and it's just like, wow, why were we
I learned about slurs doing West Side Story
Oh.
because there's an exchange at the gym or right before the fight where like they're like slurs like back and forth from the Sharks and Jets.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like all of it, like our suburban New Jersey selves were like, what is it? Like, what are they saying to us? And we're laughing about it because like we have no idea what any of this means.
Right.
And like my poor white director has to like explain like all of
so
these things
funny.
to us.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I learned about slurs from media. I think almost exclusively. Thankfully, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I learned about the N-word watching Family Matters.
Oh.
So I was like, what is
Yeah.
this? And I immediately understood that it was not a good word because of the context.
Yeah.
So
The word they used for Vietnamese people, specifically during the
Yes.
war, I didn't learn about that until like 2016. And there was a film that was titled that word. And I was like, oh, you mean this? And someone's like, you can't. I was like, what? Why? And I had no idea. And it's just like, so
yeah.
there's so much effort put in
Yeah.
to it. And it's just so strange. And it's also universal for most ethnic groups as well, that there are like epithets for Italian people and Irish people. And, it's just like, why are we doing
Yeah.
it's
I mean, nobody's white until they're not, is what I've learned about
Yes.
this country.
Yes, absolutely. And I was recently
Or nobody's white until they are, is what I
Yes.
meant to say.
Yeah.
100%. And there was this interesting thing online that was like, well, the concept of whiteness was a response to the African slave trade because we had to justify like, oh, how come we are treating human beings like chattel? So, I guess we're white. And it's really interesting as well, I think, from a linguistic standpoint of like white is the absence of dye. And so it's an absence of color, so it's a neutral thing. So it's seen to be the, base, and it's also pure. It's seen as holy. And I'm like, oh, they really did a real good job picking the word, huh?
Yeah, I remember that really powerful scene in Spike Lee's Malcolm X, where they like go through the dictionary, like this man who teaches Malcolm X about Islam in prison.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that's on HBO Max now. It's streaming somewhere.
I believe it's on
Oh,
HBO
okay.
because I think a lot of Spike's movies are.
Yeah.
Because He Got Game is on there, and I think Do the Right Thing as well.
Yeah, it's like split between like HBO Max and Netflix
Mhm.
because She's Gotta Have It, the show.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And so I think that film is also
It
on
is.
there. Yeah.
Great movie.
Yeah, very problematic, which he also recognizes, and I appreciate. He was like, I should not have done that scene. I was not mature enough at the time to have done that scene.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
If you know the movie, you know. Yeah. If you know, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Totally fair. I do not, unfortunately.
But you know what I do know? What comes next in
Thank
Charles Francis Chan Jr.'s Exotic Oriental Murder Mystery?
So we get a scene that, now that I'm looking at it again, because I'm scrubbing through to make sure I'm keeping track of all of this.
Melissa loves to scrub.
I do.
I don't want no scrubs.
It goes back and forth between black and white and color.
Oh, is this the two actress scene?
Yes. So we have the ex-girlfriend who's playing Eleanor, and we have Kathy,
Who plays Linda?
Yes, and Kathy is like coaching the other woman whose real name I don't remember, whose real character name I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't.
But she's
remember that
playing
either.
Mrs. Biggers. Yeah. So basically saying like, but do you really know what it feels like to be a white woman, kind of thing? And she's getting into character, and she's like, do you ever wish you were white? Because this feels great. And she's like, oh no. And then it's like, come on, really? And she's like, yeah, occasionally, yes, I do. But then she's like so into the character and so it gets really, really into it that Kathy's kind of like, all right, that's enough.
Mm-hmm.
And then I now realize we are cut into a scene where it's black and white, and she's playing the acupuncturist, Linda, and poisons, says how she would have killed her husband if it had been her, and then kills Eleanor that way.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. There's a very thing that stood out during the interrogation scene of Alfred. That was the funniest part of the whole thing, where he goes, did you leave? Where were you? And he goes, well, I was at home. The whole day? You didn't do anything?
Yeah.
You don't go outside, not once? You don't go to the restaurant? You don't take a walk? Not anything? Alfred's like, no. He goes, that's sad, Alfred. It was the funniest thing.
Yeah.
There are two gags that like really made me laugh, and that's one of them. I'm sorry to interrupt the whole like, oh, this lady's been poisoned for a joke, but I could not.
Yeah, that was a good.
It was.
Yeah.
It was
That's
great.
sad, Alfred.
That part
You're
was
a
really
sad man.
I was like, oh gosh, it's like every day during the pandemic.
Yeah.
During, the height of it.
Hopefully.
So far.
Yeah.
But
Gotta keep you on your toes.
But I actually got pretty confused at a certain point.
Yes, this was a confusing transition.
And I
Yeah.
was like, did Kathy kill
Yeah.
Yeah.
the
It was
ex-girlfriend in real life?
very muddled. I think I actually took the note with I had like a question mark at the end of like Kathy kills.
Yeah.
Kathy Ack.
Because then the next scene is Linda talking to Hastings, like, I have
Yeah.
something important to tell you.
Yeah.
And I, for some reason, didn't register that it was those characters. Like, I thought it was Kathy talking to Frank. Like, I have
Yeah.
something to tell you.
But so did I.
Is in the black and white convention.
I thought it was like during a play rehearsal.
I know.
Yeah, and then she was like trying to like I'll tell you what I just did after rehearsal. Like, we don't need to talk about it right now, but I do need to talk to you because I just killed someone. It's like the vibe that I got.
Exactly. And then
I wonder if it was meant to be purposely as
confusing.
Yeah.
But I mean, spoiler for the end of our podcast, I guess, but it's not really made clear
Yeah.
until you're like, oh, okay, we've never addressed that, so I guess she did not actually kill
Right.
this actress and that
Yeah.
it was just the character killing the character. So that really
That
messed with me for a little bit because I'm like,
put a
and also Eleanor Biggers does not appear in the rest of the play. I mean,
Yeah.
which makes sense because the character's dead, but it's like she not even in, because this is a rehearsal process, right? And we find out later that it's like a 9-month rehearsal process, which is wild.
Yeah.
But but yeah, you know, so this actor never appears either.
Yeah.
So like
It
she
was
could
very
be dead.
confusing, Yeah. And maybe she is.
Maybe she is. Maybe that is what happened and we just never address it. I don't know. It's confusing.
It is a confusing bit. And specifically because they just go straight into it and then the person playing Kathy starts speaking in a different way that's very subservient. And I'm like, what? Is it like... It was just confusing. It was just a confusing transition.
Yeah. And I think that there's a way to do it that is clearer.
I really
and
want to
still gets
read the
point.
script. It is like I can buy it. Like I just haven't yet.
Yeah. No, absolutely. The script, that would be very interesting to see how it's laid out in the script.
Mm-hmm.
Because overall, I think that all of the distinctions between scenes are very clear in this, which is why when this one moment, this very important moment, it seems
There's
unclear.
a reason that it tripped 3 people who watched it separately up.
Right, exactly.
But Charlie Chan arrives and the interview begins.
Yes, with Linda.
And Linda starts by speaking Mandarin to Charlie Chan.
Oh
and
boy.
And this is the second joke that got a huge laugh out of me, unfortunately.
Kathy is speaking actual Mandarin, and the white actor playing Charlie Chan is clearly not speaking actual Mandarin.
It's beautifully orchestrated because there's a beat before Charlie Chan begins to speak. And in previous scenes, he's greeted people by saying ni hao, which is hello in Mandarin. So it's like, oh, maybe there's a moment where she starts speaking Mandarin and he's like, does this actor know how to speak Mandarin? Did they find someone that could, white that knows Mandarin and, or what's happening? And then of course he's doing Chinese gibberish, which is not great, obviously, but it's also like the commitment to continue this entire conversation with him doing the gibberish is also very good. It's incredibly well orchestrated.
I was like, to be that actor, like, I don't... If somebody was like, hey, there's this part we want...
Right?
Like, I
want to
don't
talk
know.
to him.
Yeah.
Was there hesitation?
I know. I thought about that too, because goodness. Like,
take some stones.
Right, because clearly this is a play being that was written and produced by people of color, and so like, this actor probably had a certain amount of like, all right, if this is what you want me to do, kind of idea going into it. But my goodness.
It kind of reminded me, and again, I watched this episode before I watched the play, of the episode of Boondocks with Fred Willard.
Oh, yeah.
Where he plays a teacher who calls one of the main characters an N-word.
Yeah.
And he says the N-word like probably 50 times in that episode. And like, it's really well done and very funny. And I'm like, the gumption that Fred Willard had to be like, this is what the part is.
Yeah.
This show is what it is. And I
Right.
trust these people. So it's good on the production of the play to make that actor feel comfortable enough to do this terribly racist bit
Yeah.
that did unfortunately make me laugh very hard.
Yeah, it's such a difficult thing, and it's such a delicate thing because not just not knowing like when is this a problem and when is this a commentary that is helpful? When is this productive? And I don't know. I think the debate is still up for how much of it is productive. But I mean, in this play, I think that it succeeds more than it fails. But that's my own personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that there are would be many people who do not feel that way.
Oh, we're gonna get into it.
Yeah.
Right. Like I felt myself wondering a lot. Like
Mhm.
how much does this succeed of, you know.
Yeah, it's yes, and yeah, we should table that conversation to the end of it when we're
Yeah.
not thinking about the plot. But she basically she admits to having an affair
Yes.
with him
And says
because-
how that transpired.
because she spilled
Over
some coffee.
Strawberry preserves.
Oh, so yeah.
Yeah.
Which reminded me of the Justin McElroy put jelly on it if you don't want people to touch it. Like, you can prank someone by putting, like, jelly on a doorknob or whatever.
Oh.
Which is what this reminded me of.
Sure.
Because it's like, so some preserves fell in his pants and she was wiping it down. And then it's
And
like,
they got an
ooh.
erection
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
off to the races, as it were.
Mm.
Because he was
Oh.
hung like a horse. Just
I was going to say, is that race relations? Is that...
Yes. So this whole interrogation transpires, and basically he's like, yeah, no, she didn't kill him either.
And Arthur's like, what do you mean? And he goes, because I am the killer. Chan goes. And he goes, what? You killed the lady? And he goes, oh, no, I'm so sorry. I understand the confusion. I didn't kill the lady. I killed the guy.
Yeah.
But I didn't kill the lady. And he goes, okay, well then why did you say it that way? It's like a weird,
Yeah.
almost who's on first, ask a bit. It's very strange.
Yeah.
Then do we cut back to present day, or is this like the finale already?
We do cut back to present day.
Okay.
And basically Kathy's like, look, I think I'm done with this whole marriage thing. Like, what are you doing with your life?
You suck.
And he's like, I don't know. I'm just playing it by ear. And
22, what do you want from me? Yay.
yeah, because she has found a draft notice in the trash, and he like partially burned it. He's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
The non-committal to partially burn it.
Yeah, exactly. It's fun. But yeah. So she's like, listen, you got to make up your mind because I'm pregnant.
Mm-hmm. What do you want to do about that?
Yes.
And he's putting on makeup this whole time, right?
Yes. Mhm.
Of it's similar to the capuchin
monkey, yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And she's admitted at some point that also a monkey comes to her in her dreams, but
Except it's Jesus.
most of the time it's Jesus Christ.
Yes.
But other times it's a monkey, and other times it's Buddha and all this
Like Joan
stuff.
of Arc and
Yeah. Actually, they talk about that in the scene where the brother is introduced, and he's like, gosh, I wish I had a
imaginary friend. as
imaginary
well.
friend to help me make decisions. I
And
know,
then
I look
Jiminy
like I'm...
Cricket hops on his shoulders like, you do, champ?
Yes. And in the prior scene, Linda, the character, had revealed that she was only sleeping with her boss to
Feel powerful.
get pregnant
Oh, yes.
because her,
Right.
her husband couldn't get
Yeah.
pregnant.
Oh, yeah, oh, boy. It's very graphic what she describes.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
also, since she's speaking Mandarin, you have to read it.
Yeah.
And there's something about reading it that's far more visceral than like if someone was just talking about it, you'd be like, oh, that's nasty. But like reading it, it's just like, oh, I don't know. It was very.
I get what you're saying, yeah.
No, because your mind is nasty.
Yeah, it is.
But then we go into. It's really, I mean, it's clever how it mirrors the play because, you know, she has just had this conversation with her husband, and then we get into the play within the play, and Linda is having a discussion with Alfred to say, all right, I'm pregnant now, you have to get a job.
Yeah.
And she is coaching him very harshly through getting on the phone with someone who might be able to give him a job. And he's very timid and, you know.
Yes.
Next, it's Charlie and Hastings having a conversation, right?
Yes.
And then Randy bursts in to tell them they have to come into this other room quickly. Because Eleanor is dead.
Yeah.
Right.
Because Eleanor has died.
And with that, Hastings is like, clearly you have lost control over this investigation. I'm taking it over.
Yeah.
And Randy's like, can you do that? And he's like, I'm white.
Yep.
And they're like, okay.
That
Yeah.
moment was very fun. I wish he would have looked straight into the camera, though. I wish he would have, like, I'm a white guy.
Yeah.
Very fun.
Yes. So at this point then, we get this basically penultimate scene. It's the final scene of the play, within the play.
Yeah, this is where my notes stopped.
Okay.
And
Does it in this scene? Does Charlie Chan go Super Saiyan, or is that in the previous scene?
no, it's
This
this one.
scene.
Okay,
yeah.
because he does grow in size, which I think.
And says, and I quote, I am Charlie Chan unleashed. And I was like, alternate title.
It was so good, and they change the angle and they have the light. It was
Yeah.
very,
Yeah.
very fun, and just
They have
and then the actor. I'm sorry, but then the eye line changed to suggest he's also like Voltroned up or whatever.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so good. It's so. Like, what are we doing?
and we have a very long sword fight scene.
Which almost works.
Yeah.
Because it is on Zoom, so there's the technical part of it is, the dialogue works. And what they did, what is cool, is they put in graphics to suggest, like they do in anime
Yeah.
or, like, whatever. Like,
Yeah, I'm curious as to, like, what they, like, used
Yeah,
for
me too.
sure. We keep saying Zoom.
it's clear.
It could be a couple of different things.
Right.
And I'm just
Yeah.
curious as to, like, I mean, obviously it was run through, like, OBS or something, like, from whatever they were doing.
What it seems to me is they probably... Was this performed live to tape?
That I don't know. So I don't know if they had filmed different actors and edited things together. 'Cause
Yeah,
there
I
is a way to
can't
do
imagine it was
that.
live
Because
to
I
tape.
had done,
Because
yeah.
Yeah.
I believe what it feels like to me is they recorded it on Zoom so the actors could like interact in a more sincere way. But then they put it through like, Final Cut or whatever and added graphics and the filters, obviously. And then also everyone's on blue screen. So there's a lot of different backgrounds over the course of the play. So
Yeah.
that I think was added in
There is a
post,
way
probably.
to do that type of work
Yes.
live to tape, though, because I had to do that during the pandemic as
Oh.
well. Like, we ran through it all the way through, and then everything was, like, kind of added post. Like, we did the show live
Yeah.
as presented, but, like, then it was edited from there.
Gotcha.
So I
Yeah.
don't know exactly what their process was. I'd be curious to find out. 'Cause
Absolutely.
I know they have, like, a
because-
few more productions upcoming in this series.
Yeah, it's really, I mean,
For what it is, it's very successful.
yeah. Yeah, they've done it more successfully than I've seen a lot of things done. And I thought, like, I watched the Ratatouille musical as well.
Oh, Ratatouille. Yeah.
Ratatouille. And I thought they did a pretty good job, but
My
this is
soul has left my body.
oh, it
It was like a fun.
No, I know
No.
what I know of it, but just
Ratatouille.
Yeah.
it's great. And I mean, especially because it like started as a TikTok thing.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
a
when they put
bit.
together. Yeah. but that one was done even more low tech than this. Like, and
Yeah,
they did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
This is like pretty sophisticated as far as digital theater goes. But yeah, so essentially at the heart of this scene is, look, I am your father. Luke, I am your father. And you can honor your father and his sacrifice and the shame he felt by like just trying to take care of his family. Kind of deal.
Yeah.
And this is the point where we get the monologue from Charlie, right? About how he dies.
Yes, that's
this point,
this
right?
Yeah.
It's because at some point there's also a fight with Alfred and his wife.
We covered that in
Yeah.
it's
had-
the phone call.
we got there.
With swords, though. Like, they fight Charlie Chan.
Oh no, we did not get to that.
Yeah, Charlie Chan shows up and kills Alfred, and there's a really messed up moment where he stabs
Yeah.
pregnant, what is her name? Linda, and throws the baby out of her
Yeah.
womb. It's deeply disturbing, and if there was a moment to cut, it was that. But it's also like,
I think that's actually later.
that's later. Then this conversation,
So
because this conversation, regardless,
It's been a minute since I've seen it.
Yes. regardless,
sorry, yeah.
Charlie gives this beautiful monologue about how he had to sacrifice what he wanted to do. And he also presents this beautiful monologue of like, because he talks about the night he died. Because he goes on, I was like, I was on the train tracks and I thought about how my ancestors came over to this country and I built these trains that nobody uses anymore. And he goes, one of my grandfathers worked, and I only met him twice. And the first time, he's this mountain of a man, and he had these big hands and had calluses all over him. And he was so strong and so powerful. Then I met him the second time, and he was meek. And he was like, I looked for the calluses on his hands, and his hands were gone. And no one said why. And I'll never know. And no one will never know. And there's so many literal dead bodies buried under this railroad that we will never know. And that is one of the reasons I adapted, because I saw this world and how to fit into it in order to operate. But my shame was so great that I laid down on the train tracks and let a train kill me. Now, this monologue is so wonderfully performed with the thickest, most offensive faux Chinese accent I've heard in a very long time, and nails it, that you forget that it's incredible acting in this moment. I was like, oh damn, he really okay. It was really, really powerful in a way, and I wasn't expecting that, and it was really, really good.
Yeah.
So
I am sorry. I did miss the sword fight with Alfred and Linda. I scrubbed through so fast that
it's fine.
It was like right
it
after
was
the
right
phone call?
It's right after the phone call.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That yes, Hastings comes in and he's wearing like the capuchin monkey makeup at this point. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he comes in and he kills them both and kills basically it's like a very I'm killing these stereotypes of like the weak Chinese man and the dragon lady stereotypes.
You must die in order for us to succeed.
Yeah. And then we get into the scene with Charlie Chan and he's going to kill that stereotype too, basically.
Yeah. And at a certain point it turns to Frank talking to his dad.
Yes.
It's no longer these two characters.
And so eventually he does kill Charlie Chan, but he's doing it to give him a different, more honorable death, essentially. His father. Give that to his father.
Oh, yeah. And the reason Charlie Chan killed what is the Mr. Biggers is because he was his dad by saying he's the author and
Right.
that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Just to wrap up that part of the play.
Yes.
That's important. Yeah.
It is important. Yes. So yes. Then after that, we get present day, and it is. Frank says, "Okay, no, I want to be called Charlie now. I'm going to be embracing that part of myself." And Kathy, I have a plan now.
Gonna get on a VW bus and go around killing white folks.
No, killing white racists.
I said what I said.
Okay.
I've yet to meet a white person that's not racist.
Here, looking at you, Melissa.
I know.
Melissa hates February.
Look, I know.
I hate Black Whiskey Month and I hate Valentine's Day. I'm little Melissa.
Oh, God.
And little Melissa is a big weight.
My
Oh,
God.
jeez.
I know I started it. Poor Melissa.
Yeah, poor Melissa.
No, it's fair.
She admits.
Yes, I admit to being racist.
Yeah, for sure.
I understand. I understand where I fit into all of this. But so yeah, and Kathy says, "Look, I think that it's great, but this little girl I'm carrying inside me, I can't really do that right now." And the point that his dad was trying to make to him is like, it's about
family.
It's about the children. It's about what you give to your kids and how you can help them succeed.
Mm-hmm.
And so then Kathy's like, yeah, this is what I gotta do. I can't do that with you.
Peace out, Cub Scout.
Yep.
I've never heard that before. That's quite cute.
Oh yeah, that's a fun one.
Yeah. But yeah, and it's interesting because they both do agree, like, we need to make the world better for the next clump of people.
Yeah.
But how you go about that is kind of up to you.
Yeah, and we are still fighting that battle.
Yeah.
I mean,
we had a black
amount of
president.
hate crimes against Asian Americans
Yeah.
has like increased to just absurd numbers for the time we are alive in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. When was this first produced? Was it like, was this
This
upcoming,
is the first
or
production
was...
that I had ever heard of this particular play. But when I went to just do like a Google search to make sure that I got the title correct, I know that like the script is available. So I wonder if there has been like an in-person production before. I don't know. I know like Paula Vogel, like it was either brought to her or she found it some way and wanted this done, and that's why it was done.
Okay.
By the McCarter.
I was wondering if that was the case.
And it was directed by Ralph Pena, who I believe is, yes, he is the current artistic director of Meli Theater Company, which is a very prominent Asian American theater company here in New York.
Oh, very cool.
Wonderful. Yeah. What do we think of this one?
What's the scale for
I was
this?
wondering, I for plays I don't remember. We've only ever covered one
it was
other.
over 2 hours long, so I feel like it's out
it's
of
a
10.
Okay.
Out of 10? Okay.
Yeah.
Boy, was it over 2 hours long.
I give it 9 and a chaplain.
Ah.
I really, for what I believe, how it exists on paper and how it translated to this medium, which we are still navigating this new medium in the world of theater. I think they handled it brilliantly and beautifully. Like, it was very aesthetically pleasing to me. I did not see the twist coming as to who did it and why. That couldn't have predicted it as far as, for me. And I thought the actors, like, not a weak link in the cast. And yeah, I want more.
Yeah, I found it really engaging. The actors were wonderful to watch. Very, very charming and like deft at switching between characters and whatnot. I think I'm gonna give it. I think I'm giving it an 8. Just with the confusion of that moment we talked about, and also a couple of things that I think we got a little in the weeds with. It would take me another couple of watches to articulate it a little bit better, I think. But it seems like the end was really lovely and nice. Just figuring that all out, but like getting to it got a little fuzzy for me for a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, largely very successful. Really, really fascinating to watch. Yeah, I was very impressed with the way that they handled the actual production of this digital play.
6 out of 10. Better than I thought going in. You both know theater's not my favorite. Zoom theater particularly is difficult for me to be on board with because we're still figuring it out.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff. So the medium already I'm not a huge fan of. So it gets points off for that, which is, again, personal preference. As far as the mystery goes, did see it coming. Just because I was like, well, thematically, he has to kill his father, which is the author, because this guy has to kill his father, which is the problem, because it's both the same thing. It's about generational trauma, therefore. Who killed Mrs. Biggers seemed to be amaterial of anything. It seemed kind of, they just needed an excuse to kill off that character at the end of the thing, whereas, like, Chan could have just been a murderer, you know.
Yeah.
He killed one. He could have just kept killing.
That's fair.
I think where this succeeds the most is in the moments that are the play within the play. I think if that was more focused on, and tonally, I think that works better for me, at least. Because a lot of... This is what I will say. Had this been in other hands, I would have abhorred it, because this has many of the tropes that I find distasteful about modern theater, in as much as it is about a writer, it is metatextual, and a lot of the dialogue seems like a thesis rather than how people talk. And so, had it been not as good as it was, I would have been like, I gotta just stop watching this. But because it is good, I didn't feel compelled to stop watching. I watched it all the way through. The only time I scrubbed was to get through the intermission, because, you know, they do take an actual intermission. I think the acting was solid to good. The guy, again, the fact that he was able to deliver that monologue, whoever that actor is, in the thickest, most racist Asian accent, and still, like, make me feel really emotional, and to the point where you forget he's doing it, really.
Yeah.
Beautiful stuff. And then also the lead, some pretty solid acting from him as well. Everyone clearly understood what they were doing.
Yeah.
I want to know the woman that plays Kathy, because the scene when she's speaking in Mandarin, I think, is the best where she really shines. And I would love to know why that is. I'll, say it for that reason, because often I would assume that based upon her age and everything, I have no idea whether or not English is her first or second language, but I would assume it would be her first based off of her accent and this sort of stuff. But often when you speak another language and you do scenes in that, other things come out, which is just a joy to watch. But yeah, had it not been as well handled as it was, I would have not liked it at all. So my above a 5 is very good, as far as a piece of media like this goes. I'll also say it reminded me a lot of a Mel Brooks thing because of the fact that it's very similar to Young Frankenstein regarding like a disavowalment of your past with acceptance at the end. And then also it's tonally very similar to Blazing Saddles. Like were I to put a blurb, it's like Asian Blazing Saddles, which is very reductive. But it's incredibly rude and reductive, but it is like that same sort of like using racist terminology to explore an idea, which you brought this up earlier, Melissa, of like how productive is that? And I really am from the firm stance of like it depends on who's saying it.
Yeah.
Which is, the point of this play is clearly to start a discussion about this sort of thing. I do think a lot of, again, the dialogue is a little heavy-handed, and I think
well, no, this is your time.
It's everyone's time. It's a podcast. You're supposed to overtalk.
But like, yes, I could understand like it feeling heavy-handed, but I also feel like a heavy hand is really necessary right now.
That's also a fair point. And I also had that thought as well of like, well, I know this because I come from, like, I'm on Twitter and I'm in New York, whereas like other people might not be aware of this sort of thing. So it makes sense that it would be more explicit. Maybe that's a better word than heavy-handed, because there's no question what this play is about.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess I also prefer the play within the play because it's a satire, and that is perhaps my favorite genre of comedy next to... No, period. Satire is probably my favorite. And you have to, I think, also regarding like the explicit nature of what's being said, we have started viewing satire through a different lens lately. Does that make... People have to be very clear that like this is meant to be pro... whatever, or like this is meant to be anti-racist.
Yeah.
Which is like again talking about the guy who is playing Charlie Chan, like it's pretty clear within the play that it's an anti-racist play.
Yeah.
So were I asked to do that role, I'd be like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Whereas like in other things, maybe not so much.
Exactly. And yeah, if this were not if this were written by a white person, like that would be I mean, first of all, a white person could not have written this play. Second of all,
It's as explicit as it is, it's also nuanced in a way that
yeah. Second of all, if a white person had written this play, we shouldn't be producing it.
yeah.
Third of all, you wouldn't want to play that character if this were in the hands of white people. Like that would be a huge problem.
It would be rude at the least.
Yeah. Exactly. As much as it, would be trying to be anti-racist.
Mm-hmm.
This exact play, I mean.
Yeah.
Like, it would be...
Like, if you struck Lloyd's name and put somebody else's there, and, like, it's the exact same script, yeah. Like
right.
that's...
Like, the lens we're seeing it through would be a problem.
Yeah.
It would just be a problem. And, yeah. So I am thinking I'm thinking the best of this actor, who I do not know.
Oh, for sure.
So this white man, I would imagine and hope would have had all of these thoughts as well, to be like, okay, I feel okay playing this character because of who is handling it. So.
For sure. And even if you had the way it's cast, if the cast was different, it also would read differently. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like if the person playing Hastings was white, like you'd be like, oh.
Yeah.
It would change the tone of the whole thing as well.
Yes.
It would be less funny. It would be less...
Yeah.
It would be certainly less acceptable. I think it would be less funny.
I think, yeah, I mean...
It would...
Yeah, it really, like... This play is so dependent on a number of factors.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is a Jenga pile.
Yeah.
I'll say this. Maybe it wouldn't be less funny, but it'd be funny in a different way, and it would be cringe comedy.
Yeah.
It would be like Michael Scott, rather than like, okay, we're all in on the joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is really... There's a lot of thought experiments we can do. With,
yeah, for sure.
What we think about this. And I'm sure that there's also a school of thought of like, we can't put racial stereotypes in anything because... them existing at all,
Yeah.
even through an anti-racist lens, propagates them. And I see that argument as well, and I really wonder what the dialogue about this play is like.
Yeah. My only other criticisms of the piece would be the formatting is a little strange sometimes. It's almost written like a screenplay where it's intercutting between the two. Luckily, you know, with the color and not, it makes things clear. But also, I would love to see a staged version of
Yeah.
this because I think it would work. Obviously, I mean, not obviously. I think a lot of elements would work far better.
Yeah.
Like, for example, just the sword fight. With that being said, I don't think you could get Charlie Chan unleashed in the same way because how do you make a man grow 12 feet? But they
Well,
can do it.
that's
Puppetry,
yeah, it was
I
like the-
guess.
Magic.
Yeah.
But like that would be really interesting to see how they handle that as well. It would be really cool if they did like a what is that when the shadow puppetry. That would be an interesting direction. But yeah, if the format kind of felt weird sometimes, just like within the script itself of the intercutting.
Oh, you
because-
can definitely do that on stage, though. Like,
Oh.
there's lots of stuff you can do.
Yeah, for sure. I almost feel as though I would have preferred the setup of like this guy is in a crisis, he's going to write a play. Then it's just the entire play within a play, and then you bookend it. But that's a personal preference thing. I also feel like you don't need that last scene with him talking to his wife, though, because I feel like the story itself is wrapped up with the death of Charlie Chan, and then it's almost like an epilogue.
I guess. I'm trying to think about it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And you know me, every time I walk out of any piece of media,
Yeah.
could have taken 15 minutes out.
Yeah.
I
That is your-
I actually really agree with that on this one. I think there were a couple of things that could have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely buying this script.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure.
Really
It's
interesting.
certainly a compelling piece of theater.
Yes.
Because I did like I had a nice long sit with myself after watching it, and I was like, I'm really thinking about this thing.
Yeah.
So okay,
Yeah.
maybe
Absolutely.
Brecht was right. Okay.
And on that note,
Yeah.
Tyler's back.
Yes.
Lord knows what we're gonna cover next, but I now call this meeting of the Amateur Detective Club to a close.
Gavel sound. Earl.
Thank God, because everything I had was not appropriate.